BBC News by Eve Rosato. A mixed ethnicity couple who had to sell their home after racist attack say they are not surprised by recent race hate on display in Northern Ireland. The couple lived in East Belfast with their child at the time of the incident 2 years ago. They said they had no option but to move after a neighbor targeted them with threats to kill, and a restraining order was placed on him. It's not her real name, said the man stood outside their home screaming racial slurs. He said he wanted to end us, she said. Alice and her husband, Amir, had told the BBC they felt the system was stacked against them. The Public Prosecution Service, PPS, confirmed to the BBC that the defendant pleaded guilty to and was convinced of threats to kill and disorderly behavior in 2022. The restraining order was for 5 years and it covered the neighbor and any associates of his. But within weeks, the couple said it was breached by someone they believed was a friend of their neighbor. Alice said they had an eyewitness and video footage of the breach, but it was not enough. The PPS told us our case did not have sufficient evidence to be taken further, she said. We tried to challenge that and got told no. The PPS told the BBC all the available evidence was carefully considered and it was determined that this was insufficient to pass the test for prosecution. We recognize the decision not to prosecute in the second case was disappointing to the victim, a spokesperson said. We do not underestimate the impact this offending had on the victim and her loved ones. However, we have a duty to put before the court only those cases in which the available evidence provide a reasonable prospect of conviction. On another occasion, Alice and Amir rang the police concerned because their neighbor was sitting on the street opposite their home with another man drinking. Their son was not home at the time and they were worried about him being dropped off on the street near their neighbor. I was asked if there was another way into the house and I said only the back alleyway where everybody keeps their beans. They said that was a valid alternative, Alice said. We realized then we were very much on our own. I will not teach my son that because of the color of his skin. He goes like a sewer rat where beans are kept while racists walk the streets. Neighborhood policing inspector for East Belfast, Inspector Mottray, said hate crime has no place in our society and any incident which leaves a victim feeling unsafe in their own home is unacceptable. We treat our racially motivated hate crimes exceptionally seriously and proactively investigate every report we receive as we seek to ensure that those responsible are held to account for their actions. Alice said she was horrified by the riots and protests that took place in August, but it did not come as a shock. The current situation in Northern Ireland, I'm not surprised to see the racists on the streets when the response to us as a family was to go by the back alleyway. We felt the whole system was stacked against us. We lost our home to this. We had no other option but to sell up and leave. Amir said recent race hate had changed how he was living his life now. I've lived in this country for almost 18 years, but when I'm standing at the roadside waiting for the lights to change, I find myself taking a step away from everybody standing next to me because I don't know them. That's what started to happen, he said. This summer, I wasn't comfortable going into town on public transport. The recent incident emboldened all the bigotry. We have a child. I don't want to raise him afraid of the world, but at what age can I make him aware of it? And tell him, watch your back. Alice said they would never leave Northern Ireland and they want to raise their son here. There are some of us than them, more people who believe this is completely wrong, she said. Amir said that despite this not being the only racist incident he had experienced here, many people have supported him. This moment, the hate incident happened and neighbors came through. People who we say hello to in passing suddenly became a source of comfort, a source of help. Naomi Green, who sits on the Racial Equality Subgroup on behalf of Belfast Islamic Center, said she knows of people who have experienced racial harassment, but said it's not all being reported. Ms. Green added that although the police had been proactive in making arrests over the past month, the problem is seeing the case progress further. Northern Ireland has a long history where people are not being prosecuted for crimes, she told BBC's Good Morning Osler program. I think in the past there has been a failure to really tackle that. We don't have good legislation here. Ms. Green said that racial hate crime laws in Northern Ireland lag behind the rest of the UK. He pointed out that victims may not always come forward to report crimes because they do not want to rehash the experience in case nothing will be done. It's terrifying that things have got to this level in Northern Ireland. I think the Northern Ireland is actually lagging behind when it comes to race laws or racial discrimination laws. People don't want to come forward because they believe it's not going to progress further, and they wouldn't want to be targeted by others. As Ali said, what do you think, listeners and viewers? Kindly leave your opinions and comments via email address risingaboutshadowsofabuse@gmail.com. Thank you.